You know, in the world of Hollywood, the image is pretty much everything, isn't it? We see these flawless faces, these picture-perfect relationships, these lives that look completely curated. But what happens when that perfect image just shatters? Today, we're diving into those unfiltered moments, the secret surgeries, the on-camera meltdowns, and the bitter feuds that show us the messy, complicated reality hiding just behind that Hollywood facade.
So let's start with a classic Hollywood blind item. You know the type, anonymous, super intriguing, and just specific enough to get your mind racing. An A-list reality star, a new kind of surgery. It immediately makes you wonder, okay, not just who is this, but why are they doing this right now? This one little sentence, it really opens up a much bigger story about image, ambition, and that relentless pressure to constantly reinvent yourself.
And that leads us straight into our first theme, the art of crafting the perfect image. I mean, in a world where your body is literally your brand, controlling that image is absolutely everything. We're going to look at two huge stars, both under some intense scrutiny about their looks, and see just how far they're willing to go to control the story.
So the A-list reality star in that blind item? Well, of course, it's Kim Kardashian. The rumor mill is on fire right now with talk that she's looking to reverse her famous Brazilian butt lift, and the big question is why? Well, it's apparently all tied to a major career change. She's moving into her actress era, and it seems like she wants a whole new aesthetic to go with her new goals. It's actually a fascinating look at how a physical change can be a really strategic move in a professional rebrand.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of celebrity image management. I'm sure a lot of you remember that famous episode back in 2011 where Kim got an X-ray on TV to prove her butt was real. And here's the thing, she was technically telling the truth. The X-ray showed 0 implants. But here's the catch, a BBL isn't an implant at all. It's a fat transfer, which is something that would never ever show up on an X-ray. It was just a brilliant move, a total masterclass in using a very narrow literal truth to hide a much, much bigger one.
So yeah, at the end of the day, control is the name of the game. But what happens when the changes are so obvious that the denials just start to sound, well, unbelievable? And this isn't just something that happens with female stars. Let's switch gears and look at another A-lister, Bradley Cooper, who's dealing with a very different kind of cosmetic critique. So on a recent podcast, Bradley Cooper was asked directly about the rumors that he's had work done, and his response was classic celebrity deflection, not to believe everything that you read. He kind of brushed it off, saying people have just been telling him he looks good, and he seemed genuinely annoyed by the whole conversation. So that's the official story, right? The public narrative he's putting out there.
But this is where things get really complicated, because when you put his public statement right next to an expert's analysis, they don't add up. A board-certified doctor weighed in and identified a whole list of likely procedures, an upper and lower blepharoplasty, that's eyelid surgery, plus cheek filler, and even a facelift. It just shows this massive gap between what a celebrity says and what a trained eye can actually see.
What's interesting is that the expert's critique isn't that the work was necessarily bad, but that it just wasn't very subtle. It fundamentally changed what made his look so unique. The analysis said that the procedures got rid of that masculine, prominent eyebrow that kind of shaded and hooded his eyes, which gave him that mysterious, almost cunning look. And now, the result is a much more wide-eyed, opened-up appearance that, according to this expert, is a look more typically requested by female patients. It's a wild case where trying to look younger might have accidentally erased a key part of his signature charm.
Okay, so controlling your physical appearance is one thing. But sometimes the mask doesn't just slip, it completely shatters right when the cameras are rolling. So now let's get into those raw, unscripted moments of emotion, and then we'll contrast that with a case of digital deception that just backfired spectacularly.
Our first stop is this year's Golden Globes. Just try to picture this scene. You're Amanda Seyfried. You're a super respected actress, you're at a massive award show, and you don't have one, but 2 nominations in a single night. I mean, that's a huge moment. But then you lose, and then you lose again. And every single camera in that room is pointed directly at you, just waiting to see how you react.
And what those cameras caught was, well, it was fascinating. People watching pointed out that she seemed to be getting her hands ready to clap before the winner was even announced, almost like she knew she wasn't going to win. Her face was described as visibly stressed, clearly not happy with how things were going. And, of course, the internet immediately split into 2 camps. Some people called her a sore loser, saying she should have put on a better happy-for-them face. But a lot of other people saw something totally different, a refreshingly real human reaction to being disappointed. It felt like a rare moment of authenticity in a place that's usually so manufactured.
Amanda Seyfried's reaction, it's ultimately up for interpretation.
Was it bad sportsmanship, or was it just genuine emotion? You could argue it either way. But our next case? Oh, there is absolutely no room for debate here. This one involves a digital slip-up, a flat-out denial, and the receipts to prove it was all a lie. Let's talk about a recent controversy involving Hailey Bieber.
So this whole thing started with a viral video. A creator did this deep dive psychological breakdown of Hailey and Justin Bieber's relationship, and the analysis was pretty brutal. It basically framed Hailey as someone who tolerates mediocrity and abuse and does all the emotional labor just to be in the marriage. It's exactly the kind of negative story most celebrities would do anything to ignore or bury.
But Hailey did the exact opposite of ignoring it. In a move that just completely baffled everyone online, she reposted that highly critical video to her own Instagram story. Now, it was deleted pretty quickly, but not before a ton of people saw it. And then came the denial. She put up a news story claiming that people on the internet were bored and that she didn't repost anything. The problem with that? The internet keeps receipts. Users had tons of screenshots proving she absolutely did share the video. It was just a clear, undeniable contradiction. And here's the plot twist. After publicly denying she even reposted the video, her legal team took action against the person who made the video in the first place. They sent a cease-and-desist letter trying to silence them. And this move just completely backfired. All it did was confirm that she was intensely aware of the video she claimed to have ignored, and it blew the whole story up, turning it into this huge debate about celebrity power, censorship, and a really clumsy attempt at damage control.
So that brings us to our final section, where things escalate way beyond social media drama and into the real world. Here, conflicts aren't just about image anymore. They're about lawsuits and depositions, and in one case, actual physical violence between two guys who used to be best friends.
First up, we've got the ongoing and increasingly strange legal battle between Blake Lively and her co-star from It Ends With Us, Justin Baldoni. What started as a lawsuit has just spiraled into this chaotic mess of claims and counterclaims, with tactics that seem to get more personal and more bizarre by the day.
Let's just break down how messy this has gotten, okay? A central claim was just dropped after Lively's team admitted she remembered wrong. She claimed Baldoni barged in on her while she was breastfeeding, but his team says they have texts showing she invited him in. Then there's a claim of fat shaming because he asked her weight, which he says was just a practical question for a stunt they had to do. This apparently led to Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, screaming at Baldoni in a meeting that Taylor Swift was also at. And most recently, Lively's legal team has tried this wild new angle, suggesting in depositions that Baldoni has a MAGA fan base. I mean, what a truly strange tactic for a professional dispute.
A lawsuit is one thing, for sure, but our final story shows what can happen when years of resentment and just bad blood finally boil over. We're talking about former One Direction bandmates Zayn Malik and Louis Tomlinson, whose friendship famously fell apart when the band split.
This feud, it has such a long and kind of sad history. It really all kicked off back in 2015 with a really bitter, very public Twitter fight right after Zayn left the band. For years after that, it was just radio silence. But recently, the two of them were brought back together for a Netflix road trip project, something that was supposed to be a big reunion. According to reports, though, after a day of filming, a heated argument at a bar turned physical. The fight was allegedly so serious that Louis Tomlinson was left with a concussion. And now the entire project is pretty much up in the air, a casualty of our friendship that just never healed.
So after looking at all this, the extreme measures for image control, the unscripted moments of truth, and the conflicts that boil over into legal and physical battles, we're left with one big overarching question about the world that these celebrities live in. From a surgically altered body to a carefully worded denial, from an award show grimace to a lawsuit packed with bizarre claims, it all really begs the question, how much of celebrity life is actually real and how much is just a performance for the cameras? You know, maybe that line has always been blurry, but in an age where every single one of us curates our own public image online, these unfiltered Hollywood moments feel more revealing than ever, not just about them, but maybe a little bit about the performance we all engage in too.